Welcome back to the Sanctuary of Sound, the Cathedral of Cinema, the one and only The Real Review, right here on Damn Good Radio. I am your host, Warbucks. I am the voice in your ear, the shadow in the theater, and the connoisseur of the projected image. Tonight, we are not just skimming the surface of the cinematic ocean. We are diving into the Mariana Trench of storytelling. We are peeling back the layers of the celluloid onion until we are weeping with appreciation. So pour yourself something robust, turn the volume dial to the right until it clicks and settle in. Because the film we are dissecting tonight is a beast. It is a chameleon. It is a wolf in sheep's clothing wrapped in a corporate blazer. We are diving into the 2026 phenomenon that is Send Help. Now, before we even pull the curtain back on the narrative, we must pay homage to the architects of this madness. Send Help comes to us from the twisted, brilliant minds of Damian Shannon and Mark Swift on the screenplay. But the conductor of this chaotic symphony is none other than the legendary Sam Raimi. Let us pause and reflect on that name, Sam Raimi. To call him a legend is an understatement. He is a foundational pillar of modern genre filmmaking. We are talking about the man who grabbed a camera and a few friends, went into the woods and created the Evil Dead franchise, birthing a style of splatstick horror comedy that defined a generation. He gave us Bruce Campbell. He gave us the operatic tragedy of Darkman with Liam Neeson way before the comic book movie Boom. And lest we forget, he spun the webs of the original Spider-Man trilogy with Tobey Maguire and Kirsten Dunst, setting the template for the billion-dollar blockbusters we see today. But Send Help, this feels like Raimi returning to his roots, but with a sleek, modern, psychological veneer. It stars the incomparable Rachel McAdams as Linda Liddle. Now, I have watched Rachel since Mean Girls, through The Notebook, through Red Eye. She is a chameleon. But let me tell you, this performance, this is the apex. This is the summit. She delivers something so bold, so unhinged, and so deeply layered that it demands your absolute attention. Opposite her, we have Dylan O'Brien as Bradley Preston. I have been tracking Dylan since the Teen Wolf days, and I thoroughly enjoyed his work in the Maze Runner trilogy. I always felt Hollywood had not quite figured out how to utilize his specific energy, that blend of charm and frenetic anxiety. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Send Help figured it out. All right, you all, I am super excited to talk about the movie Send Help. And let me tell you, this is a really fun roller coaster ride of a movie. But before we get to the meat of this film, the bloody, gritty, raw steak of it all, we first have to set the plates on the table and the silverware next to it. We need to understand the menu before we feast. So let us get into the full experience. The film opens not with an explosion, but with a whimper of corporate drudgery. We are introduced to Rachel McAdams' character, Linda Liddle. She is the first person in the office. The lighting is sterile, cold, and unforgiving. She places her lunchbox in the refrigerator. We get a clear, focused insert shot of a label that reads Linda Liddle. It is precise. It is sad. She sits at her desk, locked in, typing away to a really cool rhythmic score that sets this vibe of monotony mixed with determination. The camera lingers on the details of her desk, the organization, the lack of personal flair, and the sheer utility of her existence. An executive walks up. We see his mouth moving, but the sound is muted because Linda is in her zone, headphones on, listening to the very music we are hearing. It is a brilliant sound design choice by Raimi, putting us directly into her headspace. She takes the headphones off. The executive asks about a report. She tells him she finished it last week. She is already on next month's projections. She is efficient. She is the backbone of this department. He feigns incompetence, the classic I am so bad with numbers routine, and she, sweet, naive Linda, says, "Showtime, I am right behind you, ready to present her work." But then the knife twists. He stops her. "Oh, they shrunk it down to a smaller group. I am actually just dropping it off." He takes her papers, her hard work. literally out of her arms. She protests weakly, saying she prepared the numbers. He points to a sticky note on top and says, "Do not worry, your name is right on top." He walks away. She is left standing there and she mutters to herself, "I guess that old elevator to success is out of order again, huh?" We see her try to bond with coworkers. They ignore her. She tries to go out with them. They leave her behind. We see that executive Donovan take full credit for her work in a meeting while she watches from the periphery. It is heartbreaking. Raimi then cuts to Linda at home. She is talking to a bird. Her only friend is a bird. She is ranting about how Bradley Preston, the owner's son, is taking over, and surely he will recognize her value. She says his father said right in front of him, "I was next in line for vice president." She is delusional with hope. She is eating pizza, sharing it with the bird, convincing herself that her crush on Bradley and her hard work will pay off. She turns on the television to watch Survivor. Keep that in mind. She watches Survivor. That is Chekhov's gun right there. Cut back to the office. The great Dennis Haysbert, you know him, the voice of Allstate, the president from 24, plays Franklin. He introduces the new boss, Dylan O'Brien's Bradley Preston. Linda is eating a sandwich at her desk. She panics, shoves the sandwich in a drawer, wipes her face, and stands up. It is the nerd meeting the quarterback. She tries to remind him of the Christmas party. Bradley looks at her with zero recognition. He is zoning out, staring at a crumb on her lip. When he finally speaks, he gives a generic speech about filling big shoes. Linda, bless her heart, yells out, "Well, I have all the right shoes already." Silence. Dead silence in the office. Bradley asks, "What is that?" She shows off these old, worn-out brown shoes. She calls them my little mules. She says, "I have had these girls a long time, a lot of miles on them, and they can carry any load you throw their way." It is excruciatingly awkward. Bradley dismisses her. Linda smiles at the room and says, "That went well. It did not go well, folks." Later, in Bradley's office, Franklin and Bradley are talking, but Bradley is obsessed with a smell on his hand. He makes Franklin smell it. "Tuna fish," Franklin says. Bradley is disgusted. He asks about that disgusting woman with those ugly shoes. Franklin explains Linda is due for a promotion to vice president. Bradley, this spoiled, arrogant brat, puts his feet on the desk and says, "Does it look like I give a shit? My father is not here anymore. Give it to Donovan. He wants her moved. He wants her gone because she smells like tuna." This is the inciting incident. We see Linda discover that Donovan, the guy who stole her work, got the vice president job. She finds out they were frat brothers. She snaps. She marches into Bradley's office. She interrupts a meeting with a model-esque woman. She demands to know why. Bradley sits her down and gaslights her. He tells her she is great with numbers but not a people person. He says he needs someone who golfs. Then the ultimate insult, he tells her she has something in her teeth. As she tries to get it out, humiliated, crying, he pivots. He invites her on the corporate jet to Bangkok for the merger. He sets her up to prove him wrong. And then his fiancée walks in, Zuri, beautiful, rich, wearing a diamond the size of a skating rink. Bradley kisses her, introduces Linda as one of our best, and then, as Linda leaves, he twists the knife one last time. "I have received a few complaints about obnoxious odors. Tuna fish. Does that ring a bell?" The rage I felt for Bradley in this moment was intense. Dylan O'Brien plays this toxic narcissist so well, you want to reach through the screen. Linda goes to her car, gives herself a pep talk in the mirror, holding back a breakdown, and decides to go on the trip. Now, we get to the plane, the private jet. The boys club is up front talking golf. Linda is in the back. Donovan shows the guys a video on his laptop. It is Linda's audition tape for Survivor. They are laughing at her. She hears it. Bradley looks back, sees her pain, smiles, and laughs harder. Then turbulence. The plane goes haywire. This sequence is Raimi at his finest. The physics go out the window. People are hitting the ceiling. The back of the plane catches fire. The side rips open. One executive gets sucked into the hole, head and legs first, like a cartoon character before the fuselage rips away. Donovan is dangling, holding a seatbelt. He screams for Linda's help. She tries. She really tries. But another guy grabs Donovan's legs. Donovan kicks him in the face, blood everywhere, and the guy bites Donovan's calf. It is chaos. Donovan starts choking Linda in a panic. She grabs a fork, corporate silverware, mind you, and stabs him in the hand. He flies out, but his tie, his symbol of corporate status, gets caught on the metal edge. He is banging against the window, blood smearing the glass, screaming, "Help me, Linda!" What does she do? She closes the window shade. The plane hits the water. It sinks. Linda fights the water and the seatbelt. She gets free. A jump scare. Donovan's bloated, bloody face pops up in the water. She swims to the surface. She washes up on an island. Now, Act 2 begins. The island. Linda wakes up. She finds Bradley face down in the sand, leg cut open. She says, "It had to be you, huh?" And immediately, her survivor obsession pays off. She goes into full MacGyver mode. She builds a shelter. She cracks coconuts. She nurses this man back to health. When he wakes up, he is ungrateful. He asks for others. He asks for Donovan. He realizes it is just them. The dynamic here is delicious. Linda is the master. Bradley is the servant to his own incompetence. She feeds him. He complains. He suggests spelling help in the sand. She says she was too busy keeping him alive. He insults her, calling her Linda from accounting and making fun of her shoes. He tries to leave to build his own camp. We get a montage that is pure comedy gold. Bradley trying to survive alone. He starts confident, "I can do this all day." Cut to him screaming at the sun. Cut to him eating sand. Cut to him dehydrated, passing out. Linda, the benevolent god of this island, saves him again. But the piece de resistance of this act is the boar hunt. Linda sharpens a stick. She stalks a wild boar. This is not a quick scene. This is a battle. The boar charges. She jumps from a tree like Xena warrior princess. She stabs it. The spear breaks. The boar gets up, spewing green puke, classic Raimi gross out humor, and she has to punch it, stab it in the eye with a shard of wood. It is gory, it is visceral, it is awesome. She drops the severed boar head next to a sleeping Bradley. The blood splatters him awake. She asks, "You ever hunt? I think I like it." They bond over the meat, they laugh, they bond over the toilet wine she made from fermented fruit. And here is where the movie tricks you. It becomes a romance, a survival rom-com. Bradley opens up about his abusive mother and cold father. Linda opens up about her dead husband, how he was abusive, how he died in a car crash because she did not stop him from driving drunk. She confesses, "I do not think we should ever leave here." They are happy. They build a new camp on high ground. Bradley apologizes. He seems changed. He seems humbled. They are about to sleep together. Linda is unbuttoning her shirt. The mood is set. And then she gets dizzy. She passes out. She wakes up groggy and paralyzed. She sees Bradley dragging a raft to the water. He was faking it. He played her. He yells, "Forget you, Linda," and paddles away. But the ocean does not like Bradley. A wave crushes him. He hallucinates his fiancée, Zuri, but it is Linda dragging him out. She saves him again. She gives him CPR, vomiting the poisoned food into his mouth to wake him up. It is disgusting and hilarious. The next morning, Bradley is crying, a pathetic, comedic cry, admitting he tried to leave her. Linda reveals she poisoned him with octopus neurotoxins. She paralyzes him. She heats up a knife. She gives a monologue about fixing a disobedient dog. She cuts him. We think she is castrating him, but she just cuts his leg to cauterize a wound or perhaps just to scare him. She dangles a dead rat in his face. Next time, it will not be a rat. The power dynamic has shifted permanently. Linda is the captor, Bradley is the pet, and then the twist that hits like a freight train. A boat arrives. It is Zuri. She found them. Linda sees the boat first. She hides. We get a flashback revealing Linda found a boat days ago. She found a billionaire's vacation home on the other side of the island. She broke in. She stole food. She knew they could be rescued, but she stayed. She wanted to keep Bradley. Back in the present, Zuri hugs Linda. She wants to see Bradley. Linda leads Zuri and the boat captain into the woods. She leads them to the cliff, the one with the loose rocks. She tricks them. Zuri falls. The captain tries to save her. They beg Linda for help. Linda does nothing. Actually, she does worse than nothing. She watches them fall to their deaths. Linda returns to camp. She lies to Bradley. She says she is taking a sick day, but Bradley finds the boar tracks. He goes hunting. He finds Zuri's hand sticking out of the sand, wearing the engagement ring. He confronts Linda. He shows her the ring. The charade is over. The survival rom-com is dead. Now it is a slasher film. They fight. It is brutal. She chokes him with her shoelaces. The mule's coming in handy. He bites her. She bites a chunk out of his shoulder. He gouges her eye with his thumb. It is nasty work, folks. Linda rips the engagement ring from his hand with her teeth and swallows it. Bradley escapes. He runs to the poisonous side of the island and finds the billionaire's house. Lights, refrigeration. He breaks in, chugging water, but Linda is already there. Her voice comes over the intercom. She is watching him on the security cameras. She taunts him. She walks into the room holding a shotgun. She has one eye, blood streaming down her face. She looks like a nightmare. Bradley begs. He creates a new lie. He says we can stay here, just us, forever. He tries to manipulate her one last time. He says, I love you. She says, I love you. And then he attacks. He knocks the gun away. He slashes her with a decorative horn. He aims the gun at her. Bye, you crazy chick from accounting. Click. It is empty. Linda knocks him down with a golf club. She stands over him. She whispers, strategy and planning. Boom. The movie ends with Linda at a celebrity golf tournament. She is famous. She wrote a self-help book. She looks into the news camera and says, no help is coming, so you better start saving yourself. She drives away in a luxury car. The end. Now we must ascend from the plot to the pulpit. We need to talk about the philosophical core of Send Help. On the surface, this is a thriller, but underneath, this is a sociological treatise on the creation of monsters. The central theme here is encapsulated in that line Linda says by the fire, monsters are not born, they are created. Why does this matter today? We live in a world of extreme disparity. We have the Bradley Prestons, people born into legacy, people who fail upward, people who view others as NPCs in the video game of their lives. And then we have the Linda Liddles, the invisible workforce, the people who keep the gears turning but are treated like grease. The film uses brilliant symbolism to convey this. Look at the shoes, the mules. A mule is a beast of burden. It is sterile. It works until it dies. Linda embraces that identity, but when pushed, she weaponizes it. She literally uses the shoelaces of her oppression to choke her oppressor. And let us look at the island. The island is the great equalizer. It strips away the corporate hierarchy. In the boardroom, Bradley is king and Linda is a peasant. In nature, Linda is a god and Bradley is a parasite. But power corrupts. When Linda tastes power, absolute control over the man who humiliated her, she does not liberate herself. She becomes a tyrant. She becomes the very thing she hated. She keeps him as a pet. This film sits in conversation with movies like Parasite or Triangle of Sadness, but it adds a darker, more personal layer. It suggests that if you kick the dog enough times, the dog does not just bite, the dog learns to use a shotgun. Linda's backstory with her husband mirrors her relationship with Bradley. She is addicted to the fixer role. She thinks she can love the monster out of the man. But in the end, she realizes the only way to survive the monster is to be the one holding the golf club. It asks us a terrified question. How many Lindas are out there sitting in cubicles, sharpening their pencils, just waiting for the plane to crash so they can finally take charge? All right, cinephiles, pull out your notebooks. It is time for the obsessive deep dive. We are looking at the details you missed while you were hiding behind your popcorn bucket. First, let us talk about the costume design. Did you notice the evolution of Linda's shirt? In the office, it is buttoned to the top, stifling and restrictive. On the island, as she gains power, the shirt becomes looser and more open, but also more bloodstained. By the time she is in the billionaire's house, she is wearing the billionaire's robe. She has literally donned the clothes of the elite she replaced. Easter egg number 1, the tuna fish. In the beginning, Bradley is disgusted by the smell. On the island, when Linda catches the fish, Bradley eats it raw and calls it incredible. It is a direct callback to his hypocrisy. He only hates the smell when it is associated with her poverty. He loves the taste when it is necessary for his survival. The bird. Linda talks to her bird, Sweetie, at the beginning. On the island, she calls Bradley Sweetie. She has simply replaced one caged pet with another. It implies she never saw Bradley as a partner. Even during the romance phase, he was always just a bird in a cage to her. And a blink and you miss it detail. When Linda is breaking into the billionaire's house in the flashback, look at the bookshelf, there is a copy of The Count of Monte Cristo, a story about patience, revenge, and reinventing oneself. Raimi put that there for a reason. Also, the gore, the eye gouging scene, that is a practical effect. I read the production notes. They used a prosthetic head for Dylan O'Brien filled with cranberry jelly and latex. The texture was visceral, and the ring swallowing, that is a metaphor for consumption. She consumes the symbol of his love for another woman. She takes it inside her. It is grotesque and poetic, which brings us to the final verdict. I do not give this score lightly. I am a harsh critic. I have walked out of films. I have wept at the death of cinema. But Send Help gets a perfect 5 out of 5 popcorn buckets. Why? Because it masters the tone. It balances the horror of Evil Dead with the satire of American Psycho and the survival mechanics of Castaway. It is funny when it needs to be funny. It is terrifying when it needs to be terrifying. Rachel McAdams gives a career best performance, transforming from a mouse to a lioness to a dragon. Dylan O'Brien is the perfect punching bag, fearless in his unlikability. There is not a wasted frame. The pacing is relentless. The cinematography, the way the camera sweeps over the island, making it look beautiful and deadly, is Oscar-worthy. It is unpredictable. I thought I knew where it was going 10 times, and 10 times I was wrong. Compared to other films in the genre, it blows the menu out of the water. It eats Triangle of Sadness for breakfast. It is the best film of 2026, hands down. And that, my friends, is the real truth. Send Help is a warning shot across the bow of corporate America. It is a love letter to the overlooked and the undervalued. It tells us that if you wait for help, you will die. You have to pick up the spear. You have to swing the club. This has been Warbucks on Damn Good Radio. Keep your eyes on the screen, your ears on the speakers, and for the love of everything holy, be nice to the person in accounting. You never know when you might end up on an island with them. Warbucks signing off.